Good evening, RMP aspirants. Mr. Nadeem Beg is with me, and we are going through questions for risk identification. Yes, Nadeem Beg, please.
Sir, first question. Which among the following refers to structured description of a risk, which separates cause, effects, and risk?
Mm.
Option A, risk module. Option B, risk category. Option C, risk meta language. Option D, risk breakdown structure.
Mm.
Sir, description of a risk separates cause, effect, and risk. Cause, effect, and risk. Cause, effect, and risk. Three. Sir, I'll eliminate first a risk breakdown structure. Option D first, sir.
Okay.
So it won't help in ये अपने को कुछ भी हेल्प नहीं करेगा सर एज पर दिस कॉज एंड इफेक्ट रिस्क कैटेगरी बी एंड डी मैं एलिमिनेट करता हूँ सर ऑप्शन ए एंड ऑप्शन सी में सर रिस्क मॉडल इज समथिंग विच इज
Numerical modeling technique, quantitative analysis, Monte Carlo.
यस सर सो yes sir risk meta language I will go with option C sir risk meta language.
Yes, risk meta language is complete description of risk statement, which is containing three parts: cause, risk, and impact.
Yes.
Okay. This will be question number 2.
Yes, sir. What are the critical success factors for identify risk process?
Mm.
What are the critical success factors for identify risk process?
Mm.
Option number 1, recognize the value of risk management and perform iterative qualitative risk analysis. Interrelationship between risk in qualitative risk analysis and the integration with project management, iterative identification, recognize the value of risk management and prior risk identification, and qualitative risk analysis.
Yes. Critical success factors.
Critical success factor. Recognize the value of risk management and perform iterative qualitative risk analysis. Option number 1, sir, I think.
Identify risk, you will do qualitative analysis. He is asking critical success factors for identify risk.
Identify risk process, yes, sir.
So qualitative will not be there.
Option C.
Option C, iterative identification.
Iterative identification, yes. This is the critical success factors for risk identification. The others which are having other processes like qualitative, quantitative, integration, they are not the success factors for risk identification. So iterative
Yes.
identification is the right answer.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Nothing.
Your project spans the entire organization. You would like to assess the risk of the project, but are worried that some of the manager involved in the project could affect the outcome of any risk identification meeting. Your worry is based on the fact that some employees would not want to publicly identify risk even that could make their supervisors look bad. You would like a method that would allow participants to anonymously identify risk event. That risk identification method could what risk identification method could you use? Option A, isolated pilot group. Option B, SWOT analysis. Option C, Delphi. Option D, root cause analysis. Sir, as per the scenario, sir, I'll eliminate first option C, option B, and option D.
Okay.
root cause analysis and SWOT analysis.
Mhm.
SWOT analysis, strength, weakness won't help in this case, sir.
Right.
Isolated pilot group can help, and Delphi. In both, most probably Delphi technique will be the most suitable for
Yes, anonymous technique,
this.
which encourages all the stakeholders to give their ideas. That is Delphi technique. Isolated pilot groups.
Sir,
Yes, that is a focus group
uh,
type. And here maybe the
okay,
anonymity is not considered.
okay, sir.
Question number 4, Faisal.
Okay, sir. Henry is the project manager of the KHL project for for his company, and he is starting the risk identification process for the project. Henry needs to ensure that the correct stakeholder and interviewed are interviewed as part of the risk identification. What document will help Henry to communicate and solicit impact of the project stakeholder during risk identification? Project charter, project charter, risk register, stakeholder register, requirement management plan. What document will help Henry to communicate input the project stakeholder during risk identification?
He wants to ensure the correct stakeholders are interviewed. Which document he will refer to solicit the inputs of the project stakeholders during risk identification.
Stakeholder register, requirement management plan, risk identification. Project charter, sir.
Uh,
Where he has to
Option C.
ensure correct stakeholder. Yes, he is saying, right. Correct stakeholders.
Option C.
Yeah. Why did it be option C,
Yes.
please, sir?
Sir, the stakeholder register will give the idea about the stakeholders,
Mm,
all the stakeholders and their requirements.
mm,
So here we have to communicate and solicit the input for risk identification.
right.
So stakeholder register will be help.
Stakeholder.
Sir, project charter will give high level requirement.
Right.
Risk register not will it will not help. Requirement management plan. So
That is to
requirements are
collect the requirements,
these.
analyze the requirements, how to link the
Yes, sir.
requirements with the features of the product.
Yes, sir.
Clear, Faisal bhai? Stakeholder register will help us to find what are the correct stakeholders to be interviewed.
Okay.
Ji, Nadeem bhai.
You are working with your project stakeholder to identify a risk with a JKP project. You want to use an approach to engage the stakeholder to increase the breadth of the identified risk by including internally generated risk. Which risk identification approach is most suitable for this goal?
Mm,
Option A, assumption analysis. Option B, SWOT analysis. Option C, Delphi. Option D, brainstorming.
mm.
Sir, I'll eliminate first option A and option B, sir. Assumption analysis and SWOT analysis won't help. Uh, Delphi and brainstorming is both are good, but here one
You
key
see,
element
he says that to increase the breadth of identified risks, the risks
breadth.
are there, and you want to
Yes, sir.
expand their, the range.
Yes,
And
sir. So
internally generated means organization related.
yes, sir. So I'll go with brainstorming.
No, no, brainstorming is a very open session, boundless session. No board,
Yes, sir. No, sir. Delphi, sir. For anonymous,
but there is no word anonymous. It's not showing
yes, sir.
anonymity in the question.
Yes, sir. Uh,
You know,
sir, F.
internally generated,
Yes,
externally generated risk, and increasing their breadth, increasing the range of these identified risks.
yes, sir.
It
So
needs
option C, sir.
SWOT analysis. From the
Sir,
internal strengths and
SWOT.
or weaknesses of the organization, you are filtering the opportunities and threats for your project. And these are internally generated for the organization.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Breadth of the identified risk by
Yes.
including internally generated SWOT analysis, strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat, sir.
Mhm.
Option B is the right answer.
Facility question number 6.
Which of the following documents is described
Mhm.
in the statement below?
Mhm.
It is developed along with all processes of risk management. It contains the result of the qualitative risk analysis, quantitative risk analysis, and risk response planning.
Each document is updated after qualitative analysis, quantitative
Qualitative
analysis,
management plan,
and response.
risk register, risk management plan.
Which one?
Statement below.
Where we will write the results of qualitative analysis, results of quantitative analysis, results of response planning, results of monitoring. Where we write them?
I think, sir, risk register.
Risk register, not risk management plan. Risk management plan contains the outputs of only developed risk management plan process. The other process,
Yes.
risk register is available. Okay, good.
Yes, yes.
Nadeem bhai, question number 7.
Which of the following inputs of the identify a risk processes is useful in identifying a risk and provide a quantitative assessment of the likely cost to complete the schedule activity.
Mhm.
Option A, cost management plan. Option B, activity duration estimate. Option C, activity cost estimate.
Mhm.
Option D, risk management plan.
Mhm.
Inputs to identify risk process is
Okay.
useful in identify risk and provide a quantitative assessment of the likely cost to complete
Assessment,
the schedule activity.
estimates
Uh,
of likely cost.
activity cost. Uh, sir, option C, sir, activity cost
Cost
estimates.
estimate, because he is going to find out the probable cost of the all the activities. So our
Yes, sir.
cost estimates will give us the quantitative assessments and what can be the cost for completion of all the activities in the project.
Okay.
Clear? Or some question?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Clear, sir.
Question number 8.
A project manager needs a method to create a quick and uh, simple approach to risk identification to communicate the project risk with the stakeholders. Which one of the following approaches to risk identification should the project manager chooses to provide a quick and simple listening of the project risks?
Quick and simple
Delphi
list.
technique, attention assessment, brainstorming, checklist analysis. This is to
Quick and simple listing of risks.
Listing, yes,
And
think,
most
sir, it's
Gee,
brainstorming.
no, it's not quick and simple.
Option D.
Check
Option D.
checklist. Basically, checklist is
Checklist.
1 or 2 pages summary of the risks organization was facing in previous projects. When you start a new project,
Yes.
it is in the path, and project
Yes,
manager
sir.
knows that if he can have similar risks in his project, he will review this checklist. It is only 1 page or 2 page summary of the risk. That's why it's called quick and simple listing. And also very
Yes.
important thing, the last part of the RBS, the last stage, RBS is the hierarchical decomposition of the sources of the risk. And the last
Yes, sir.
end portion of the RBS is also called checklist. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Question number 9.
Which of the following inputs of the identify risk process is useful in identifying risk associated to time allowance for the activities or projects as a whole with a width of the range indicating the degree of risk? Option A, risk management plan. Option B, activity duration estimate. Option C, schedule management plan. Option D, activity cost estimate. Which of the following inputs of the identify risk process is useful in identifying risk associated to time allowance? Time allowance durations. Time allowance, sir. Sir, I will go with option B, sir. Activity duration estimates.
Activation estimates, because the time
The key.
elapses for the activities, the probabilities, range of probabilities, that how much time we can complete, that is we can find by the activity estimates, duration estimates.
Yes.
Question number 10.
When does the identify a risk process take place in a project? At the initiation stage, at the execution stage, at the planning stage, throughout the project life cycle. Take place. When does the identify risk process take place? Process in the project. I think, sir, at the execution stage.
And we will not do in planning.
No.
We will not
Option D.
in initiation.
Sir,
Throughout the project
option
life
D.
cycle, sir.
Oh, D is the right answer. Yes.
But sir, a written process. That's why I choose execution.
That is process. Identification can be done in initiation, in planning, execution, monitoring, closing, everywhere.
Yes, sir.
So if we don't do an initiation, project charter will not have high level risk. If we don't do in planning, a risk register will not be created. If we don't do an
All right.
execution, then the newly coming risk, they cannot be identified. And in monitoring, if we are missing, we are not counting them, considering them, then the project will be deviated from the baselines and we will not capture the risks. So all about the life cycle of the project, we are considering the risk identification.
All right, sir.
Question number 11, sir.
You are the project manager of the NHK project. Management wants to know how often your risk identification or process will occur during the project. Considering that your project is scheduled to last 1 year and involves 5 distinct phases, how often should risk identification take place? Option A, well, vary depending on situation with the project. Option B, monthly. Option C, once per project life cycle phase.
Hmm.
Option D, quarterly.
Hmm.
Sir, monthly, once per project life cycle phase, and quarterly.
Hmm.
Sir, option A, vary depending on the situation of the with the project.
That's right, because monthly, once per project life cycle, quarterly, if they are written in the risk management plan, then well and good. Otherwise, these
Yes, sir.
time dictations or timelines we cannot finalize from our side. It should be as per the risk
Yes, sir.
management plan. If it is not as per risk
Yes,
management plan, we will not consider it.
yes,
So,
sir.
depending on the situations, depending on the complexity, structure, type of the project, we will be doing the risk management identification. That will be question number 12.
You are your project team are just starting the risk identification activities for a project that is scheduled to last for 18 months. Your project team has already identified a list of risk and a long list of risk that need to be analyzed. How often should you and your project team do risk identification? Option number A, it depends on how many risks are initially identified. Option number C, several times until the project moves into execution. C, at least once per month. Identify risk in an iterative process. Very different of risk that need to be analyzed. I think sir option number 4.
Yes.
Yeah, identify the iterative process.
Identify
That's right. Iterative
risk.
identification is right. Good, sir. Nadeem bhai, question number 13.
What are the critical success factor of risk identification process? Option A, risk identification should be performed as early in the project life cycle as possible. Risk should be clearly described and use appropriate project model. Option B, risk identification should be based on agreed upon definitions, collect high quality information about risk and used periodically throughout the project. Option C, risk identification should be performed as early in the project life cycle as possible. Risk should be clear, described, and linked to project objectives. Option D, risk identification should be performed as early in the project life cycle as possible. Risk should be clearly described, and interrelationship between the risks is quantitative risk analysis. Sir, option D I will eliminate, sir.
Okay. Because
First,
it is quantitative
uh,
analysis.
yes, sir.
Okay, good.
Uh, sir, all of option three, first part is okay, sir.
Hmm.
Risk identification process should be performed early life cycle as possible, sir.
Hmm.
Option second point, risk should be clear, yes. Clearly described, yes. Uh, and use appropriate project model. It can be one of the answer.
No, cannot be.
And
Project
use
model,
period.
Nadeem bhai, project model is means we are using the modeling technique, which is in
नहीं सर
quantitative.
मैं अभी नहीं सर खाली मैं होल्ड कर रहा हूँ सर अभी वो
Okay,
ऑप्शंस को
okay.
होल्ड risk and use periodically throughout the project. Sir, from option A and option C, sir,
Hmm.
mostly option C will be the best
Answer.
option. Why? Because risk should be clearly described and the risk should be linked with project objective.
Exactly. That's right. So C is the right answer. Good. Question by question number 14.
What best describes the job of a risk owner?
Hmm.
Getting a detailed description of a risk
Hmm.
activity involved in the identification of new risks, responsible and accountable for the risk management plan, responsible and accountable for managing risk. दो में डाउट आ रहा है आई थिंक ऑप्शन 4.
Yeah, managing
Yes.
risk. Yes, that's right. What is the other you are having a doubt?
Responsible and accountable for the risk management plan. It's only talking about the risk management plan, but risk owner is
Risk,
everything is responsible
yeah, for risk.
because he is accountable.
Yes, that's right. Question number 15, Nadeem bhai.
Basal, TCOP, and Spectrum are three examples of the prompt list
Hmm,
that can be used during risk management activities. Prompt lists are used to do which of the following?
hmm,
Option A, identify basic cause of more fundamental forces.
hmm,
Option B, achieve the relative weight of the risk. Option C, stimulate risk identification.
hmm,
Option D, perform stimulation with all prompted risk
hmm,
varying simultaneously.
hmm.
Sir, uh, I'll eliminate option B first, sir. Achieve
Okay,
relative weightage
that is in
weighting
AHP.
of the risk. Sir, basic identify basic cause of. Sir, I'll eliminate D then. B and D are eliminated.
Okay.
From A and C, sir.
Hmm.
Uh, sir, stimulate risk identification process.
Stimulate risk identification because it is going to have, it is already having the causes. From the causes, we filter out what can be the risks. So that is like simulating the risks from the causes of the risk or sources of the risk. So simulate risk identification is the right answer. But first one is saying identify basic causes of risk. These are already causes.
Yes, sir.
We are not identifying
Yes,
them.
sir.
From them, we are identifying.
Yes, sir.
Question number 16, Faisal bhai.
The senior risk manager hires that critical deliverables are delayed because a key subject matter expert does not have enough time to allocate to the tasks. Which area should be reviewed as an opportunity for the risk manager to coach the project manager responsibility for the project? Risk identification process and participation,
Mhm.
detailed review of the project schedule before approved,
Mhm.
risk management plan and planned risk responses, scope reduction to reduce SME
Mhm.
reliance,
Mhm.
risk management plan for the I think a detailed review of the project schedule before approved.
Detailed review of the project schedule before approval. It is not showing any
Option
opportunity
A.
for the project.
Then
Option A.
Why?
risk
Option
identification process and participation.
Why?
I
Nadeem,
think I
please elaborate. Nadeem, please give the detailed reason why you are selecting risk
is
identification process.
regarding all the options, sir. Option B is detailed reviews, project schedule. It won't help, right? As a option C is risk management plan and planned risk responses.
Hmm.
Sir, the scenario is nothing related to risk responses, sir.
Hmm.
Scope reduced to subject matter expert reliance.
Hmm.
It is also not a why because it is a key subject. Scope reduction is not nothing related to scope reduction is there in the question, sir. So
Hmm.
risk identification and participation. Risk is
But
identified with
hmm,
a key subject matter expert, but the participation
hmm,
because the subject matter expert does not have time
right,
for that reason.
right,
That is the second part of the question is telling the showing that opportunity for risk manager to coach the pro-
project manager.
responsible for the project. Yes, sir.
Hmm.
For that reason, I selected option A, sir, risk identification process and participation.
Hmm. You know, this critical deliverables, when they are delayed, it means the issue has occurred. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And issue when
Yes,
occurs, it means the risk identification is poor. So to
yes,
cope
sir.
with the issues occurrence, we have to do proper risk identification. And second part, subject
Yes, sir.
he does not have time to allocate to do the task allocation, so he was not participating that much. So second opportunity is to coach him for the participation.
Yes, sir.
Yes, bhai, clear?
Clear, sir.
Question number 20.
A, a project manager assigns a risk owner during which of the following process? Option A, plan risk response. Option B, control risk. Option C, identify risk. Option D, plan risk management. Sir, once the risk is identified, we will assign a risk owner, sir. So identify risk.
So you will go what for which answer?
Option C, sir.
Option C.
Option C.
Right. The potential response, potential owner, they are written in the risk register as an output of identified risk.
Yes, sir.
That's a big question number 18.
To reduce, to reduce the ambiguity of a risk statement, what identification technique will be used? Driver risk, outcomes, probability risk, impact, exploit risk, accept, cause risk, effect.
For this statement,
Ambiguity of the risk statement.
meta language, complete
Yes, sir.
description of the risk.
Probability risk impact, I think.
Complete description is not probability and impact. Three-part statement.
Sir,
Ambiguity.
risk, cause risk effect.
Cause risk and effect, or cause risk or impact. Probability name, no,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Exploit risk, accept.
Meta language.
Meta language is cause risk and effect. Hasal bhai?
Yes.
Cause risk and effect, sir.
G. Three-part statement. Meta language that is written in the form of cause, then risk, then its impact. This is the complete risk
Yes, sir.
statement and it reduces the ambiguity.
Okay.
Nadeem bhai, 19.
The project artifact used to capture risk strategies and ownership pattern is option A, mitigation plan. Option B, risk action plan and with owner. Option C, risk register. Option D, risk management plan. Artifact. It is telling about artifact document. Sir, risk register, sir.
Risk register that contains the risks, that contains the ownerships, that contains the response strategies. Right. G. Question number
Yeah.
20, Faisal bhai.
Due to the due to a key subject matter expert does not have enough time to allocate to the tasks, the critical deliverables are delayed. The risk manager should review and coach the project manager in which of the following criteria: reviewing and reviewing the schedule baseline before approval, identify risk process and participation, risk management plan and planned risks responses, quantitative risk analysis process and participation.
Yes.
Enough time to allocate to the task.
First of all, it says critical deliverables are delayed. Issue is
Playing, yes, sir.
has
Yes.
happened. Second, it's
Yes, sir.
subject matter has not time for task allocation. So what are the two areas which will cover this? In which answer?
Risk management plan and plan risk processes. I think identify risk process and participation, sir.
Yes, yes. These
Yes.
two are covered by availing this.
Yes.